How's it going, everyone? Daxellz here, and today we're going to react to someone we haven't reacted to in an entire year. I think we reacted to their online dating video. It was Nakey Jakey, and we're going to react to the death of video game box art. Let's get straight into it. And away we go.
Hi. My name is Jakey, and I want to talk to you about video game box art, or covers, or cases, or whatever the hell you like to call them. If you play video games, even casually, you may have noticed how generic and lazy box art has become. No matter the genre, games seem to like to follow one of two ways of advertising themselves. It's either a main character from the game, just standing there, you know, probably with a gun, or doing something so badass, like looking at the ground, or it's a super close-up face shot of the main character just...
He's not wrong.
Being a goddamn face. And the reason these cliches are so frustrating to see is that the game underneath the dull box art could be a beautiful, tight little piece of work.
But you
will be revisited and loved and digested for years to come. Except now, it's always going to be associated with some shitty picture of a dude with a gun. Obviously, this is all super subjective, and there's definitely exceptions, but it boggles my goddamn mind how we've gone from this to this to this. Dog bless, dog piss. In an attempt to get to the source of this problem, we'll need to travel back to the days of the NES, SNES, and the Genesis. Back in the still somewhat early days of gaming hitting that loud, legal, cush mainstream market, unique box art was more common primarily because of a necessity for it. When you couldn't just slap your 3D model dude on the cover of your game and call it a day, you had to get a little more creative. I mean, it's hard to get people, well, hard for Double Dragon 2 showing them this, but when you show them this, holy shit, man, there's a boy and a girl, my incredible mission's dead, I'm gonna bleed. Well, you could argue that doing it this way is potentially misleading to the consumer. There was some amazing art created for some classic games, but because box art wasn't just slapped up by some hot boy in Photoshop and actually had to be created by an artist or artists, publishers would sometimes use a
You could argue the fact that the gameplay's got more better than the box art now is why people showcase the character, because they could do that. But yeah, but it does look really cool and I love it, but you could argue the fact that the gameplay's gotten so good that it's better than the art on the cover.
Different artists when localizing a game to the US in the hopes of selling more crappies.
Oh wow.
Exhibit A, Rockman. Known as Mega Boy in the US, Rockman's box art debut in Japan was fun, colorful, and it reflected the game
Rockman?
pretty good. Mega Man, not so much. While the Mega Man games on the NES are the easiest, worst examples by far, other games would sometimes get shafted in the US too, all because the publisher thought that this would sell better than this. But this one is so much more pretty. Yeah, whether that's justified is up to you, but regardless of the occasional change in localization between regions, I would still consider the 90s as the golden age of video game box art no matter where you live. Games like Secret of Mana, Super Metroid, Chrono Trigger, Doom, Ocarina of Time, they're all memorable ass games, and they have box art that's a good visualization of that. And for some games, I actually prefer the changes to the US version, like Metal Gear Solid's minimalist design or Gran Turismo's ominous car unveiling. I will say though that the PAL cover for Resident Evil 2 is terrifying, and the US one just kind of looks like a werewolf, but you know, different strokes for different strombies. Either way, game boxes were looking pretty good. The PS1 and 64 continued to have some sick cases in their libraries, but advancing technology meant that clean, decent-looking CGI characters were starting to post up on boxes a lot more frequently. By the time the next generation of consoles dropped, the US started to see the beginning of the end. Exhibit B, Hornboy. We're just gonna call it Hornboy. So HB is a pretty unique game. You know, it's lonely, it's very quiet, it's atmospheric. It was deliberately trying to be different from other action-adventure games at the time, and this is what the cover art looks like in Europe and Japan. This is gorgeous. And this is the US cover, like... Come on, man, why?
No, it's so bad.
Mega legs all over again. To get to the source of how something like this can happen, and really the source of the shittiness of modern day box art, we gotta examine how things are marketed to Americans. For whatever reason, in the US, we seem to have more of a response to a character, particularly a pissed off one, rather than a stylish logo or some neat art. I mean, at least that's what marketing people think. And it's not just video games. I mean, it's movies too. Just take the movie Drive, for example. Yeah, there's scenes of Ryan Gosling being a goddamn hunk badass, but it's also a very stylish, artistic film with themes of love and loneliness, and yet this is what the DVD looks like. Just Ryan Gosling and a tacky-ass logo. Our apparent ADD need for a main character getting blasted in front of our faces resulted in a bunch of lazy PS2 era artwork that became the cliches we know today. Just look at Final Fantasy X in Japan artwork.
I didn't mind some of them games. No, I like Jak 3. It's the least one. It's the one I played the least, I will admit. So yeah, I can agree. I can agree.
Cliches we know today. Just look at Final Fantasy X in Japan. No, Final Fantasy 7 through 13-2 in Japan. All the games follow the same beautiful, consistent, minimalist approach with a white background and just a variation of the iconic logo.
Yeah, but I can't tell which one's which.
For each game. It's so fucking neat. But America. Throw a bunch of characters all over that shit. Yeah, dude with his sword, that's perfect. Americans love that shit. Did somebody say girls? Yeah. The funny part about this is while marketing teams did in hopes of better sales, games with unique artwork still
GTA's
sold like crazy in the US. Like, look at the GTA games. They all have that tiled style that not only shows what you're gonna do in the game, but the color palette reflects location and era the game takes place. It's awesome. They're stylish and effective, and they sold an ass ton of copies. Regardless of some of these sick exceptions though, by the time gaming entered the PS3, 360, and Wii generation, unique box art was seriously like clinging to its last breath. There were still the few exceptions, you know, creative and clever boxes that actually stuck with you. But the typical character with a weapon and or boobs template was rapidly taking over. Exhibit C, Heavy Rain, and Metal Gear Solid 4. Now, taking over.
Wait, does he not like the MW2 character? Look at that, it's sick, bro. I like that. I like that. I don't know if he's saying that's bad. I like that one. That's one of my favorite games though, so I'm kind of biased.
The weapon and or boobs template was rapidly taking over. Exhibit C, Heavy Rain, and Metal Gear Solid 4. Now, Heavy Rain is not a perfect game by any means.
It's alright.
But
it's alright. It's funny.
And at the very least, it deserves some unique box art to illustrate that. And in Europe, that happened. They got this clean-ass little piece that told you everything you needed to know without showing too much. Because, you know, it's a detective game. It's okay. I mean, I don't know. But the artwork was great. But in the US, they had to add boobs and a weapon. Let's just cover all the bases, boys. The final straw for me personally was actually when Metal Gear Solid 4 came out. You know, as a kid, I was a huge fan of the series. I still am, and this one was supposed to be the last one of the series. And in Europe and Japan, they got versions of the box art that respected that. They got a beautiful illustration that's actually a clever callback to the PAL and Japan box art for the first Metal Gear Solid game. That is so cool. America said that though. Nah, instead let's just throw some raw dog CGI looking ass old man face on there. Americans love old men. You seen Gran Torino? It's great. 5 out of 5 star. The saddest thing about the current generation of video game consoles is that at least in the previous generations, if there was a cover art in the US that was pretty butt, we at least had a pretty sweet alternative in a different region around the world. Like take Daxellz, for example. The Japanese cover art is amazing. To me, it fits that game perfectly, and it's one of my favorite boxers of all time. I love it. But the one in the US, it's like none of this makes sense to me. The shield is on his right hand, but we're looking at his back, and there's these spirits around him. Like I don't know these spirits. Get out of my house. What I'm trying to say is at least we had the alternative, but now, for the most part, the box art you see between regions, it's gonna be the same. Like Bloodborne, I'm sorry, you're one of my favorite games of all time, but the cover art is boring for everyone. Metal Gear Solid 5, the cover art is exactly the same. Final Fantasy 15, they dropped the white minimalist and now they have all the dude bros on it, and it's like,
the dude bros.
Did we do this? Did they just pick up on what the West was doing? Is like, oh, they just put a character on that and it's cheap and people are still gonna buy the game. Why are we taking the time to actually make something cool? Let's just do that. You know, this is all just my speculation.
Possibly.
There's no hard facts as to why box art is butt, and maybe
I think it's because the digital age has kind of come in now. I think it's rarely people go out and buy games in physical copies because I think it's cheaper now even to buy digital because of all the sales on Steam, on anything, to be fair, even the Xbox sales, everything, all the sales, the PlayStation sales are good, really good. So I think that's what's killing it, if I'm brutally honest. It's not the fact that they've given up, they're putting less money into it because they know less people are going to buy digital copies of the game.
maybe it's okay. Maybe I shouldn't even care. You know, I play most games on PC. You know, people on PS4 and shit, they just download everything now. Terabyte hard drive. But my speculation and my theory is that, you know, video game box art, unique video game box art that you'll actually remember is f***ing dead, and
Yep.
America killed it.
I don't... Very good.
Oh no, mister. I'm charging a Michael Glass.
Okay, that's the end of that. But anyway, Mr. Nakey Jakey, I think that it wasn't America. It was the gaming industry itself, latching on to other people's ideas. You are right, but it's not America's fault. It's all of our faults for them buying those games that support that. Good video. Okay, everyone, that is the end of the video. If you enjoyed that video, make sure you check out the original in the description down below. Enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up, comment what you'd like me to react to next, subscribe if you're new or just haven't yet. I will see you in the next video. Laters.